This is a 1982 Honda CB750. This is the second generation of Honda 750 that you guys always tell me the second gen is better than the first gen, and I always tell you guys, yeah, I know, I have one. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. If you guys are new here and this is your first time watching, make sure to subscribe. This is not a new purchase, but a bike I've been hiding for quite some time. And I've always told you guys, I have a second generation CB750, and well, here it is. Let me tell you how we got it, what the plans are, and a little bit about this bike. If you guys know anything about old collectible Japanese motorcycles, you're going to know about the CB750. That motorcycle does not have a dual overhead cam system like this. It's not quite as intricate as this. It's very basic, very collectible, very sought after, and this is the second generation that came out that is a little more undesired than that bike is, even though this bike is faster and better than it in almost every single way. No Kickstarter, electric start only, unfortunately still carbureted with 4 carburetors, but this motor makes significantly more horsepower than that motor does. Now there's a few reasons these aren't as collectible, right? This is a second generation, it's kind of like an ugly duckling out of the bunch. The original ones were beautiful, elegant, they had the beautiful pipes sticking out, they just were it. And these, well, a lot of people put fairings on them. This bike had a big old fairing when we got it, and we stripped it immediately off, and they kind of lost their charm a little bit. Now this bike was owned by a friend of ours, and it kind of just sat in his garage for a long time. The tank did unfortunately sit with gas. I think the tank is savable, but we're not going to be restoring this bike to its original condition. And let me tell you why. So the Honda CB750 with the Gen 2s came with this beautiful super sport variant, and that is a bike I would very much like to own, have in original condition, and be a part of the collection. We bought this one for a couple $100. It has a title, it turns over, and it's not locked up, like the motor isn't locked up, but it just isn't really all that cool of a bike in my opinion. It's a very, very nice riding machine. It's an awesome motorcycle, but it's just not super cool in any way. But this motor is absolutely gangster. A lot of people made the first generation Honda CB750s into cafe racers. A lot of people chopped them up, did stuff like that. But the motors, I mean, they're not too fast. I mean, it's still a 4-cylinder Honda, so it's still going to be reliable and quick. But these, I mean, it's a completely different weapon from the first generations. So this is one of 4 cafe racers that we currently have on the back burner. We have the Yamaha Virago, we have a CX, we have this bike, and a little bit of a mystery cafe racer that I haven't shown yet. We've had this bike for a couple of years now, probably since around 2021, 2020, something like that. Maybe a little bit longer even, so it's been 3-4 years since we've actually had it. We just haven't got around to touching it because there's just so many other projects on the burner right now, but our friend was selling it and he was like, well, you want it? And for the price, we just couldn't say no to it because, well, they're super cool. Now, eventually, I would love to have a second generation bike in the collection that is the Super Sport. The black with the orange and yellow pinstriping. I love that bike in its stock form. This bike we are going to turn into a cafe racer, but it's probably nothing going to be too over-the-top extravagant and crazy. A lot of people mess up motorcycles thinking that they can make them into cafe racers, and then when the final product actually ends up happening, it's like extremely subpar. On this bike, maybe chop the ends off, get a new muffler system for it, clip-ons on the front, put a bump seat on it, maybe a different tank, and then call it a day at that and get the bike cleaned up. Taking significant weight off the bike and at the same time kind of tuning it up, maybe tuning the carbs up to make the bike have a little extra power, and giving it the clip-ons in the front and maybe a different front end, taking off a lot of weight off the front end, so making it a little lighter, making it look a little bit more sporty, but not going super insane on the bike. Because a lot of people, I feel like, get caught up going too crazy on cafe racers, and then, like I said, the end product is so subpar, and it kind of looks like you ruined a good bike. Now that's the plan for the bike. Plans could change and we could end up just putting the headlight back on, because like I said, this had a big old fairing in the front. So perhaps we put a headlight back on the front, we get rid of these like riding bars that are down there, and then we just kind of enjoy it as a stock CB750 from the second generation. I think these bikes will climb in value as kind of the bikes from the era go up. I don't think they'll go super crazy though. I don't think that a bike like this will be worth $10,000 anytime in the near future. Clean ones I could see for, you know, $6,000 or $7,000 at the very most. I could see the Super Sport variant, however, going for a pretty penny for a nice one, because those bikes are beautiful. But other than that, that's kind of the CB750, the story behind it, how we got it. It's a CB750, a 4-cylinder from Honda that kind of took over the world in 1969, and then they didn't really develop it until 1978, 1979. They switched over to the dual overhead cams, the update. Kawasaki had their KZ900, and then, well, Honda needed to compete, and that's why this update came. Also, Honda, in 1978, 1979, dropped one of the most insane motorcycles of all time, the Honda CBX. And if you haven't heard about the CBX, it is a 6-cylinder, air-cooled, 6-carburetor motorcycle. Yeah, you heard me. One of the craziest bikes of all time, and I own one. So if you have never heard of the CBX, well, make sure to check out my video about the CBX. A lot of bikes are on the back burner, unfortunately, but I am getting around to them, and when we have an update with this bike, the CBX, or many of the other bikes in the collection, you guys will be the first to hear about them. I'm thinking we do part 1 to the restoration process and get this bike running. Would you guys be interested in that in the very near future? Because if so, I can pull this bike out of storage, I can bring it up to the garage, and we can start tinkering around with it and see what it says. It's most likely going to need its carbs cleaned. They all do. They all gunk up. I'm in the process of restoring the CB450 at the moment, so make sure to check that out, CBX video out, and if you guys did enjoy, as always, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.